How's it going, everybody? Welcome to OP Entertainment. I'm Omar Darwish.
And I'm Pratik Cherian.
And this is our review of Obi Wan Episode 5. Pratik, we're going to go full spoilers.
Obviously. It's the second to last episode.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. This
right.
episode was much better than the last episode.
All right. Yeah.
It's not my favorite episode. I still have some issues with it, but overall, I liked it. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Are there weaknesses? To be sure. But I would say this is...
It's got the coolest stuff.
It's got some cool stuff. And I had a lot of fun through this whole thing. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
All right. So this episode opens up on Anakin, right? That's the opening shot?
Yeah.
Anakin and Obi-Wan circa after the clone...
Circa 2006.
Yeah.
No, it's after Clone
2.
Wars, but definitely before. I would say before the Clone Wars TV show starts, because in that show he's a Jedi Knight.
Okay.
And here he's very clearly a Padawan.
I don't remember much about episode 2 because I've only seen it like the once.
I try not to remember episode 2, so...
Was Anakin showing signs of being like troubled then? Because he seemed pretty. I'm about to be long hair emo Anakin.
That's the movie where he killed all the Tusken Raiders. So
okay. Yes. Gotcha. I remember the younglings, but yeah, gotcha. Okay, so he's pretty angry, pretty angsty as well.
Yeah.
I knew they were going to cut away from their fight because it would have been too good to get it. But the episode knew, this show knows what we want, and they keep teasing it.
So I'll say this. Speaking of that fight sequence, I absolutely love the use of that as a framing device for us to get an insight into Obi-Wan's understanding of Anakin and how at every phase of the fight that they do show us, it's relevant to what we're seeing in the present day. And I think that that's the kind of thing that... Because this episode...
It's a good storytelling technique.
It's a great storytelling technique, and that's how you use flashbacks effectively. Looking at you, Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. And they were also doing vice versa of that. They were doing... Vader was explaining like how Vader knew Obi-Wan was defeated. And then Obi-Wan was like, he thinks I'm good. Like, God. Like,
it's so good.
Yeah, there's so... Like, I'll say this. Some of the best stuff has happened in this episode, but there's still some bad, and I got to touch on it. Number one, I didn't touch on it last week because I wanted to give him some more time. But what's his name? O'Shea Jackson.
Yeah.
It's also an editing thing, but it's like the way he's saying his lines. There's just no like breathing in between. He's like, we gotta go there, close the door, and then go there. And it's like he's like counting the seconds in between, and like I don't know. It's not. I can't tell if it's like a direction thing or just straight up the acting.
Or even a script thing. Like, because you're right as far as the delivery, but it does feel like every scene he's in is written in a way where...
He has a lot of exposition.
He's got a lot of exposition to do.
Yeah.
And I wonder are there like in-between scenes that were just cut?
Yeah.
Or is he really just an exposition vehicle? I agree with you with his character, if you want to call it a character.
And then just once again, and this is just my gripe with Star Wars in general, these stormtroopers... There's like 1,000 stormtroopers all in front, just like blasting away. They're like 10 feet, 20 feet away from all of these people. And the people are just like, pew, pew, just like knocking down stormtroopers. The stormtroopers are just not hitting anybody. I made a comment because we see the stormtroopers shoot like 2 people, right? Or the droid and what's her name? Tala?
Tala, yeah.
Tala, which R.I.P. Tala. But I was like, was that the first time a stormtrooper has ever hit?
Other than Rogue One. I think some of them hit some things in Rogue One.
They've never hit anything.
I think it's one of those where it's almost, at this point, what do you do with stormtroopers? Because you can't... have them show up in a project and all of a sudden be good.
Yeah.
When throughout all of Star Wars media, they're really not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they need to be somewhat... I get you. I'm with you. I don't think this is any better or worse than any other Star Wars property.
Yeah. I'll say this.
Speaking of Tala, actually, I want to pivot there really quickly. So, I don't know if you saw this. Apparently in the very first version of the script, back when Obi-Wan was a movie, Tala was being written as like his love interest.
Oh, okay.
What do you now that she's dead? Are you glad that they like nixed that entire storyline, or would you have liked to see more of her?
I think that they probably decided we don't need a love interest for Obi-Wan.
Sure.
And I feel like they gave us enough of like the tropes of what a love interest like character would give us anyway. So like, but I will say this: maybe if there was more of a connection between them, I would have felt more when she died. But when she died, I was just kind of like, okay, now we can get on to like more things.
Are you sad that we're not going to get to see her in the Andor show now? Because I know you're looking forward to that show.
Andor, 24 episodes of goodness. I can't wait. Being sarcastic. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about though? Okay. I was gonna say this. I think that they handled Vader way better in this. Just he's walking at a faster pace. He's not like they're not trying to do the Michael Myers thing anymore, and I'm happy about that.
So I'm going to push back just a little
Okay.
bit. Not that they didn't handle him great. Vader was amazing in this. I don't think it's better than episode 3. I think it's about the same.
It's showing a different side.
I think the difference between this episode and episode 3 is versus in episode 3 when Vader shows up, they're kind of hoping that you understand the Vader character based on your consumption of Star Wars. Versus in this, again, going back to that framing device, because they showed us the flashback fights, we understand Vader's, like, the show is helping us understand Vader's character more in this.
And, like, his motivation.
And his actions make more sense. Especially because, like, I mean, Obi Wan spells it out, like, oh, he's too aggressive. He has this need to win. He's going to, like, Obi Wan tells us what Vader is going to do, and then we see Vader do it, and it helps us understand Vader better. But I don't think that makes it better than episode 3. But it does mean that we're all on the same page. We're not arguing over his motivation.
You're right about this too. Vader definitely wants a fight. Like, because he could have taken down. Well, I'm gonna say her name again wrong. Moses Ingram's character, Reva. He could have taken her down easily, but he's like, nah, take your lightsaber. Like, let's do this. Like, real.
Right.
Like, he wants to fight. He doesn't get to lightsaber swing with them.
Is that anymore. The best Vader like fight sequence we like?
I was really happy. Yeah. I was really happy to know that they were gonna have a fight. Which we should probably talk about this. Did we I think we talked about it on like one of the earlier episodes, but we kind of predicted that Reva was going to kind of turn on Vader, right?
I think,
or that might have been her motivation.
Yeah,
I think we were hoping that was her motivation, right? Yeah. To make the character just have a little bit more.
It's definitely one where we're like, here's this character that's just driven by anger and rage, so eventually that has to turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that they did it in a way that made her entire character make more sense.
So, but all right, is she a good guy now? Is she a bad guy? Because Obi-Wan,
no, she's still bad.
Obi-Wan seems worried, right?
It's almost one of those enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing, where like Vader says, "Oh, he was wise to use you against me," but she's not a good
which also dumb line because Vader was about to kill her an episode before. Like, he wasn't wise to use her against him because who is she to Vader? Nobody. But
I mean, but at the same time, that's how Obi-Wan was able to buy time to escape to like all of that stuff.
But also not really because he wasn't. Vader knew she was gonna turn on him because he had the other Grand Inquisitor ready in the bunker. Like
that wasn't the surprise. It's basically Obi-Wan using her against him was Obi-Wan's way of escaping, and not Obi-Wan's way of taking out Vader.
Gotcha. And that's more what Vader was probably assuming.
That's what he meant. Like, because she sent Obi-Wan in there with 2 stormtroopers. Like, Obi-Wan can't defeat 2 stormtroopers.
Does he just keep the other Grand Inquisitor with him everywhere he goes, just in case he needs to have that reveal? Like, what? He's like, oh yeah, come on. We need to tell them you're alive now. Like, you know, what
must have been on that ship at some point.
What if he had to keep up like later on? Like, what if he had to keep it up with Reva for a little bit longer? Like, it was gonna end today.
Speaking of which,
evil dies tonight.
I'll be honest. Underrated part of this episode: Vader toying with her by naming her Grand Inquisitor at the beginning of this episode, knowing damn well that the Grand Inquisitor was still alive and he was ready to like. Yeah, I liked it.
Best part of the episode when Vader stops the freight from going off or whatever.
Definitely the coolest part.
Other than the CG on that ship looking god awful, I thought.
Was it worse than in like last Rise of Skywalker when they did?
Are we just comparing it to Rise of Skywalker? Is that the bar? Like,
I mean, but that's the last like big budget Star Wars film. Plus, it was pre-pandemic. I feel like that's a fair comparison.
I think yes. I think it was still worse. It was worse than even some bad CGI we've seen in the show already. It didn't bother me though because the moment was so cool. It's just like, oh yeah,
yeah. Maybe that's what it was.
Was there a lone pilot in there that's just like dead or now? Like,
does autopilot not work in Star Wars? Do they do that?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone tell us in the comments. All right, so where do we think Reva is going from here? She's going to go after Luke now because she gets the little
which I'll be honest, to me that was the weakest part of the episode.
Because who cares? Like, what's she going to do?
No. It's not even who cares. It's like that, like Obi-Wan handing that like holo projector off, kind of lame. Also, so if we can complain about Bail is like helping with, like, this is a guy who's helping found the Rebel Alliance.
Okay.
And in one message, it was like, I know I'm not supposed to talk to you, but I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to tell you every secret that we're trying to keep
I thought that
all in one message. Boy, I hope this message doesn't go anywhere. Like,
that's funny.
Absolutely stupid.
Also, speaking of, just while we're nitpicking, speaking of, like, keeping secrets, why is Obi-Wan keeping Anakin's secret?
Which sequel?
Like he refers to Anakin as Vader unless he's whispering. He's like, it's Anakin. Like he calls him Vader to everyone else. Why doesn't he just tell everybody this is Anakin?
Because I don't know that Anakin like means anything to those other
Sure,
people.
but does Vader?
It's kind of like if I know somebody and I know him by a nickname, but you know him by a different name, I'll call him by that name so you know who I'm talking about. To me, that's kind of what that feels like.
Okay. Oh, I had one more question for you. Sorry. We were talking about, you talked about last week how these episodes have been paralleling the saga. Mm-hmm. What about episode 5 did this take?
So it's
Empire Strikes Back. Nobody lost their arm. That was predicted.
But it's very clearly the Hoth invasion where they're trapped in the base and they just are trying to make it to the transports and get off, and the Empire is like has them trapped.
Yeah,
it's very Hoth. It's Hoth, but on like a desert planet instead of a snow planet.
Okay,
yeah.
Is that it?
I'm sure somebody else will find some parallels, but to me that was like the big thematic parallel.
Okay. All right, and then I guess for the episode 6, what are our predictions?
So here's my question. So you and I both assume that there's going to be another Vader Kenobi fight, right?
If there's not, I'm gonna be very upset.
Me too. I'm right there with you. Where does that take place? Because we know Reva's going to Tatooine. Is Vader also going to go to Tatooine?
If you take Vader to Tatooine, then he's way too close to Luke, and I feel like he'll be able to feel Luke. Although he hasn't been able to feel Leia, and she was there.
Yeah, no, so. I'm not even saying that, but it does draw, to me, it draws unnecessary attention to Tatooine.
But when has Star Wars shied away from doing that? Like,
yeah, but
Tatooine is the hottest spot in the world.
Yeah, but the whole point of hiding him there was like, oh, Vader would never go here.
What's the line from Star Wars where Luke is like, if there's a bright side to the universe, this is the furthest part?
Yeah,
bullshit. This is where everything happens in between this
I
time
almost
period.
feel like, so for that reason, I feel like you can't have that Vader fight
what I would
happen
love?
on Tatooine.
I would love it if it's on like some icy, like weird, like like glow planet or something crazy we haven't seen before. But you know me, I've been wanting Star Wars to get
that
crazier.
Specific planet.
I've been wanting them to
years.
go to what's the Pandora from Avatar and fight there. That's what I want. I want like a crazy, like something we haven't seen from Star Wars. And if you're gonna have Vader, and now I like how Vader's powered. Obi Wan's probably gonna get some like Jedi Viagra from Qui-Gon's ghost or whatever to fight Vader in this next episode. But speaking of, we're gonna get Qui-Gon. Come on, right?
Probably.
They have referenced him like 6 times.
Yeah,
The first like 3 episodes like start with him praying to Qui-Gon, trying to get him.
At
to,
the same time, Liam Neeson has said like, "Oh, I don't do Star Wars television, just
and he's
movies."
doing a Star Wars TV show, right? Like an animated one, and he's done Star Wars animated TV shows, so he's full. He's full of it. He's full of it.
I'll say this: I think it's a credit to this show that we're going into episode 6, and we don't really have solid ideas of what's coming next, which I kind of like.
Sure, but like they've even like. Haven't they done like the previously on like and showed like Yoda talking to Obi Wan about like
that was in the
communicate with your master? They did it twice.
That was in the first episode when they were like recapping the entire prequels, which is hats off to whoever had to edit that.
Oh, that's if you haven't seen the prequels, just watch that.
Yeah,
just
you're good. You're done.
All right, do we want to score this, or is there anything else we want to cover?
No, I think I'm good to score it.
All right, I'm thinking 8. It's not my favorite episode, but it had the best stuff in there, so I'm gonna give it an 8. Technically, it's better than last week, and I guess I like that they're filling out motivations a little bit more. So yeah.
I agree with you. It's an 8. I really, really debated taking it to a 9 because of the emotion and the backstory and all of that stuff. I think to me, the thing that keeps it from being a 9, and this might be like a really, really dumb thing, I'm still not super impressed with the like cinematography of fights of the action sequences. Like some of the fight choreography, especially like the Vader Reva fight choreography was really good, but like the stormtroopers storming the hallway and like you were talking about like them retreating, like that whole thing was just sloppily shot.
But like that's kind of been my gripe with the whole show, so I'm almost not dinging it that much.
I think it especially stands out in this episode. Okay. Because we haven't really had a sequence like that before. So yeah.
I feel like this and that in episode 3 when Vader's in, is it episode 3? Yeah, when Vader and Obi-Wan are just like, playing Duck Duck Goose around a rock or whatever. That to me was.
I would say this show overall, if there's one like consistent gripe, it's cinematography.
Yeah.
But so with that said, I agree it's an 8. I think this was it's either this or episode 3. Those are my 2 favorites.
This is like top 2 episodes.
It's top 2. It's top 2 for sure.
So if this finishes out. Like if episode 6 is just amazing, What do you think about Obi Wan? Like overall, you think, or you want to just wait for next week?
Let's just wait for next week.
All right, guys, we'll leave you on the cliffhanger. You want to take us out?
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll bring you the finale of Obi Wan, and we'll be uploading a Miss Marvel review a little bit later. So be sure to check that out too. We'll see ya.
See ya.